stream. Well, that was weird. It just popped up saying it's live now. Whatever. Okay. Hello, everybody out there. Tonight we're having a discussion on co-op games, and it's a little different than what we normally do. Normally we would have just like one game that we talk about, but tonight we're changing that. So here with me is Kat, Robert, and Shane.
Hello.
So Robert's going to lead the discussion tonight, so go ahead.
Yes. So the topic for this discussion is basically co-op games. We have talked about specific games in the past, but today it was suggested that we try and discuss just a particular genre or aspect of some games, and express what we like about it, what we don't like about it, some of our favorite examples of co-op games, as well as, ways we think we would like to see that genre or that style or element be improved on. So the first question I kind of want to pose to everyone is, well, actually we should clarify what a co-op game is. Because I think there is kind of a gray line between a multiplayer game and a strictly cooperative game. A cooperative game is pretty much exclusively people working together against some common force or with some common goal.
Portal 2?
What?
Portal 2?
Yes, like Portal 2. Or in general multiplayer case, usually it's a more competitive scenario where you're actually competing against other people instead of, and even though you're on teams, so there is that competitive element. But for the sake of our discussion, if it's team-based, meaning you are cooperating with other players, whether that's against the computer or against other players, it's still up for discussion. So the first question I want to ask everyone, is, assuming we all kind of agree on that definition, is what cooperative or team-based games have you played? Just a nice little list that we can start with. Let's start with Sonia.
Okay. Most co-op games I've played have actually been tabletop games. I've played Pandemic, House on Haunted Hill, I guess that's one. Castle Panic, Descent, those are good. And then as far as like video games go, it's old, but Sonic 2, where you get to play Tails and start a co-op. Video games, let me think. I guess, what was it, Mario Kart? I know that really isn't so co-op. It's just...
Kind of like Double Dash?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then PC games, I've played Left 4 Dead. I guess WoW sort of counts in parts of it.
Yeah.
What else? God, I'm trying to remember everything.
That's a good start.
Oh, TF2. TF2. That counts.
TF2.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Portal 2. Well, actually, no, I haven't played the co-op yet, but I have played Portal 2.
Well, maybe we have to change that.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Shane? What's your list of cooperative games or team games?
My tabletop is limited to one game, and that's of course just Dungeons and Dragons. That's really about it. For me, I did more first-person shooter style co-op. Halo, Call of Duty, all that jazz. You have free for all, and then you have, of course, your team-oriented and goal-oriented. And then, other than that, WoW and League is the other ones too.
Yeah.
But a lot of FPSs are more my element.
Cool. Kat?
Well, I played, as far as tabletop games go, I've played role-play games in the past. Like, I've played the Doctor Who role-play game, which is fun. That's pretty much, I think, the only one I've played as far as tabletop goes. I've played plenty of co-op video games. One video game I had, I never really got far in it, but it was co-op. There's this Genesis video game that was called Venom and Spider-Man Separation Anxiety, and it was kind of like a beat 'em up, but you were just it was like just two players. It was basically the arcade or to beat 'em up. Simpsons on for the arcade. That's another one that I played. I love that
I
one.
remember that.
Just pretty much anything where you can just put in a bunch of quarters and play 4 people at an arcade when we were little.
What was
And
the X-Men one called?
Sonic 3, that was a good one that I played. I always have my sister would go off, and my sister would play Tails, and then I would hide in the corner, and she would kill the really tough baddie because she could just keep dying over and over again, and then I would just, sweep in and get the victory.
Yeah. Any other ones?
I played GoldenEye, which, as you were saying before, it can be a co-op, but I like the Hunger Game variety where you could team up with another person who was about as weak as you were against, the star player or my brother, and get together, kill them, and then we can kill each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's. And Toy Story 3. Okay, I played. That's a co-op.
Yeah, it's actually. I want to come back to it, Kat, but I remember that GoldenEye didn't really have a mode that facilitated what you were saying, so it was almost like you guys kind of made that gameplay mode out of just the free-for-all. You could technically kill your ally.
No, we did. We do back shots, like friendly fire. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, but you chose not to. You chose not to for the sake of fighting, a greater evil until that was dealt with, and then
my brother,
it was either you got to fight each other at that point on equal ground, or you could you could quit the game having that victory. But I definitely want to come back to that.
Does Minecraft count multiplayer when you're running around and
I would say so. That can be
building things?
Yeah.
Okay, then that one too.
You guys play World of Warcraft or something? Rashawn's addicted to that game at one point.
Yeah, I played that. I had to stop.
Me too.
I had to get back to life.
While I give my list, I have a couple people here in the stream. If you guys are still there, list a couple of your favorite cooperative games or team games in the chat, and I'll read them off if you guys can't already read them. But let's see, some of my latest cooperative games. Let's see. I mean, a lot of the ones that you guys have mentioned, I have played to some degree. Some that weren't mentioned. Let's see. Oh gosh, I'm looking at my wall of games and I'm thinking, you guys kind of covered all the ones that I played. Cooperative. Oh, there was in the same fashion as Sonic the Hedgehog with Tails. I played Klonoa, which was a PlayStation. Well, I think it was PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 because there were 2 versions. And then in the second one, you could have a little friend that would help you. But what was interesting is, like Tails, he couldn't die, but he actually had a mechanic that could help you. The game was kind of a platformer, and so he would actually give you a third jump if he timed certain things. So it was kind of like playing 2 different roles that contributed to each other, and it wasn't like 2 of the exact same characters sharing a screen.
Oh, like how in Sonic 3, like Tails, if you have a second player, you can get him to fly you up places?
Yeah, actually, similar to that. Let's see, anything other than what you guys have mentioned?
You can go old school and go Contra.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes!
I have played Contra. Turtles in Time, that's one I don't think was...
Oh, man, I missed that game.
Yeah. And that's kind of
the Manhattan Project.
Man, and you got Battletoads. But Battletoads is unfair. Because you'd be like, you know what? I don't like you. I'm just gonna hit you off the level, and then I'm just gonna play it myself.
Battletoads it didn't work together. It was you really having 2 players did more harm than good in that game.
Yeah, that took talent.
In the stream, Hollis says that he had a lot of fun with the Portal 2 co-op. He mentions that it's the side story co-op, and And that's something I haven't played much of the co-op in Portal 2, but one thing I definitely admired about the multiplayer and cooperative element of Portal was that it was relevant to the single player game. It actually was, like he says, a side story. That talks about these two characters that exist in the same world, pretty much after the events of the game. So after you complete the game, their story kind of begins. And until I play it, I won't know really where that goes. But for the most part, it's more relevant than just some tacked-on feature, which some multiplayer or single player, whichever one they put more priority on, ends up usually being is kind of tacked on. But yeah, I'm trying to think what other cooperative games. I mean, one of the things like
there are those D&D board games too that we played also.
Yeah, that's
right. It's like D&D except it's structured on a board game.
Oh, one you can play by yourself or play with another person. What you wrote through that book.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's let's see. There's the Wrath of Ashardalon.
Yeah.
Legend of Drizzt.
And there's a Ravenclaw one or something like that.
The what?
Ravenclaw one or something like that.
Yeah, Castle Ravenclaw or something like that. Yeah, and they're all dungeon crawlers, and you're cooperatively working together to kind of stomp through the dungeon.
Hey, in order for it to be a co-op, does it have to be another human being playing with you? Because there's tons of games that have like Kingdom Hearts has characters that you cooperate with, but they're AIs.
Yeah, I would say probably for the sake of this discussion, we're probably referring to playing with other people, because in a lot of games you do still interact with AI and other characters, whether or not they're kind of doing the same thing you are. But I guess what interests me, and we could certainly talk a little bit more about a cooperative experience with AI, but I think what interests me is the actual interaction between players, which I guess kind of leads us to the next question, and that is, what do you think are some of the best cooperative games that involve people playing with each other and interacting? One I can think of off the top of my head that it was a lot of fun, other than like the beat 'em ups that you mentioned, Cat, like Turtles in Time and stuff. But another one is like Gauntlet. Those games,
yeah,
were pretty solid. There was another one that was like Gauntlet. It was that top-down view, and you're kind of running around, but it was like it was almost a Buffy the Vampire Slayer type theme. You're kind of like these monster hunter type characters, and you're running around. There's all these undead and vampires and ghouls and things, and it was cooperative. I believe it was for the Xbox. I cannot remember the name of it, but that one was a lot of fun.
If you do like a word search or like this cross-reference, you might find it online.
Yeah, I'll have to try and look. 'Cause I know I've looked a couple of times, but I'm sure if I tried hard enough, I could get it. But yeah, what would you guys say would be your top? Oh, here's one I totally forgot. Shane, Terraria. You and I both played that one together, and you keep bugging me to come back and play it again.
I wanted to play. Now that I have my PC, I can play.
I know. Well, we could. It's up to 4 people, so technically we could jump back in and do that again.
Live stream.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, let's see. What are some of your guys' favorite cooperative games? And anyone in the stream can answer that too. We'll start with Shane.
I want to take it from Sonia, but Left 4 Dead. That probably is my most favorite cooperative game because when it first came out, or the the demo. We downloaded it, and they're like, it's the sickest game ever because every time you play a level, it's different every time, and I was just like blown away by that whole idea. Went to the guy's house, we played it a few times, and I was like, I can't wait to come out, and then we dedicated like 4 months after work, get off at midnight, played like 6 in the morning, like dailies, and it was just, I couldn't get bored of that game. I mean, honestly, I still do play it once in a while. There's like no one on now, but I really like that game because you can also play as the zombies, the smoker, the hunter, the boomer, and that was actually kind of fun. So
Yeah, that's my favorite aspect of that game is the fact that you get to play the zombies. Because I mean, there's a lot of games where there's zombies in it, and you're fighting them, but you don't usually get to play the villains that much, and that's kind of fun. And especially the fact that there's so much. They're so unique with the exploding ones, the boomers and the. I never remember the one that you can grab people with your tongue. You pull them into like bushes.
No, I hated those ones.
Those are my favorite.
And then you got the ones boomers, and then
yeah. I love that.
There was a video game that was like Left 4 Dead that came out. Resident Evil tried to do when it did its first online one of it, and the loading times were ridiculous on it, so it didn't really catch on. But one thing that did interest me was that you could play a zombie, but how you became a zombie was that if you got injured by one, then eventually you could turn into a zombie, and you could either attack your people or you could help them because apparently you had more strength as a zombie, and you could like bash down a door for them before they shot you in the head because you're infected or whatever, and make a very interesting thing that you could use your upcoming zombification as a aid to the group, or you can go crazy on the group. And then I think for a little while afterwards you could go around as a zombie looking for random humans.
I think I'd immediately be like, I'm a zombie now, and just start attacking people. Even though they're my good friends.
No, there's one I remembered. It was called Spy, and the game was your standard Splinter Cell game. It was nothing new, but the multiplayer, it was 2 spies versus 2 mercenaries, and spies had different abilities where the mercenaries had different abilities. And I remember that one.
Talking about Splinter Cell.
It was Splinter Cell, but I think it was called like Spies or something like that. And the mercenaries would be a first-person style shooter, and you'd have gadgets like laser detectors and detection devices, cameras and stuff like that. And the spies would have like gas grenades and stealthy stuff. And then you could crawl on the roof and see the merc below you. And if let's say you died as the one spy or the other merc, you could see that other person crawling around. You could see the other merc like panicking and looking for the other guy. And it was no other game really touched on that. I mean, it didn't last too long, but I mean that in itself was probably the reason why I played that game. I mean, it came out in like probably 2002. It was an old game.
I remember playing that one, and I really liked it. I felt like there were some balance issues, but for the most part, the idea that it was an asymmetrical game. It wasn't just 2 teams with the exact same forces going against each other. That kind of made it interesting, the fact that you could play 2 very different roles. And the stream chat, as mentioned, let's see.
Double Dragon!
Double Dragon. The streams mentioned Battlefield 3, I guess, has a co-op. Saints Row, the third, has a co-op. And then, of course, Diablo was cooperative for the most part. I mean, you could play by yourself, but, a lot of people enjoyed running around with other people through that game. And I have played some Diablo, so that's a good one.
And I didn't play Diablo, but I know that, at least in Diablo 2, it was very difficult to succeed without having, people co-oping with you.
That's Blizzard for you.
Mm. I mean, same thing with WoW. I mean, you can't go into an instance alone, really, unless you're, like, going into something low level and you're, like, super high level. But even then, that, you wouldn't really do that.
Leroy Jenkins!
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, what do you guys think really... Well, actually, did everyone kind of mention their favorite cooperative?
I didn't say what my favorite was yet.
Or some of your, I guess, the tops.
Favorite tops. Okay, well, I did like Left 4 Dead for sure. I do like TF2. That one's fun. Tabletop. Castle Panic's really fun.
Castle Panic's good.
And
Pandemic's pretty good.
Pandemic is fun. It's hard, but that's also why I like it too. Because you don't. A lot of the times you just get destroyed. like 2 or 3 games until you can finally win. So that one's fun.
Yeah. Kat,
I'm not sure about video games though.
do
I
you have
don't
any
know.
particulars?
I have a favorite co-op.
Yeah.
Anything Ninja Turtles probably was my favorite growing up.
Yeah. I would agree. So now really after some thought, what do you think really makes a good cooperative game? And I'm going to kind of start this question off just because there's something that really makes and breaks cooperative games for me. And that is, I feel like a good cooperative game means that each person playing has value that is not just based on their contribution, but their individuality. For example, I guess looking at, say, World of Warcraft, for example, even though this is not maybe the best example, but in World of Warcraft, people had roles. There was healers, there were tanks, there were DPS dedicated characters, and for the most part, you couldn't complete certain high-level tasks without actually having various combinations and setups of each of those people. I feel that makes a better cooperative game than just X number of equally capable people all doing the same thing. And that's a pretty big deal for me, is to ensure that everyone has kind of a unique role to fill. The other is, and it's, well, actually, I'll come back to that. That's what I think is really important for a cooperative game, is that each person has a niche role to play. Kat, what do you think?
No friendly fire.
What? Are you kidding me? No friendly fire? That's part of the challenge right there. That's cool.
No way. They have a friendly fire version in like Ninja Turtles, and it was irritating because it's hard to, because in the old 2D fighters, sometimes it's hard to figure out your depth, what depth is in the game, and if you throw a punch, you don't want to knock out your other player.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly interesting you bring that up, because I remember, like in that, what's that? There's a Mario game recently. Maybe this is the one that the stream mentioned, but there was a Mario game recently where it was cooperative, but you could easily jump off of people's heads and knock people off of stuff.
Is that the new Super Mario Brothers?
It might be.
Okay.
But the other thing is, like, with the Ninja Turtle games, in Turtles in Time, I remember, there was something about getting those pizzas and power-ups that were just so addicting that you could be full health and you'd just grab the pizza because you wanted to hear your turtle scream cowabunga when your friend, got a broken leg and, clinging on to life. But yeah, I kind of torn between whether or not friendly fire is a good or bad thing. It's certainly bad for some games, but I think for other games it's what's kind of made it memorable, But I can definitely see the frustration. What do you think, Sonia?
I think loot distribution is always good. Like, how, like in Gauntlet, for example, if you're running around and you're trying to get, like, food, and someone else gets it and they're, like, way at full health, like you were mentioning, and you're, like, dying, and they accidentally run into it and pick it up, it's like, well, I need that. And so you have to, like, tell each other, okay, you go get that and I get this, which is fine, but sometimes I wish it was, like, where it would just split off no matter who picks it up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess
if you have really good communication, it's fine, but if you don't, then...
Yeah, but a good fair system certainly makes it better.
Yeah.
Hunter Jr. 08 in the stream says, all people have to have a task, and not just one person can just do everything while the others go to the restroom. And yeah, I agree. There really shouldn't be one person who can do everything, and this kind of refers to the second thing I was going to mention about having some kind of power gamer. This is more of an issue with board games, but you'll have someone who is either knowledgeable of the game or someone who's just kind of a type A personality, and they end up telling everyone what to do. And basically that means that you could walk away and go to the bathroom, and that person could play the game for you, especially if it goes in turns. But yeah, absolutely. What really makes it good is having all players have some kind of equal value that are required at all points in time. let's see. What are your thoughts, Shane?
Well, as far as I'm hearing right now, is the two ladies like easy mode, no friendly fire, and make it easy distributing. But no, I mean, it's for me, it's really hard for a video game to mimic like a tabletop or have a human element in a multiplayer game because, I mean, like I said, the only tabletop game I really have co-op with is, like I said, Dungeons and Dragons, and even then, the DM can make 6 million ways how to solve this quest, and you do the 601 way, you and the other people. And even then, when you make your characters, you don't make them like, okay, we have a healer, we have this. No, you just make your character, and then you do what you want to do, and that's how you solve the task. So that X factor, I think, for me, if a developer was able to just kind of make that little X factor, or even no, I just want that X factor. I want that whole us factor in the game.
That human element that makes it, a little more interesting than just what a computer comes up with.
Don't get me wrong, computers are awesome and stuff. But,
yeah. Well, and it's true though. I think that's the other thing you can really leverage is the fact that people working together actually being able to overcome something instead of just one person can be really rewarding. What are you gonna say, Kat?
I agree with him on that one because sometimes characters are too specific. Like in Lego Star Wars, they have very specific spots where you have to switch out to this specific character to be able to do something, and that kind of muddles up gameplay because it's like, really, I gotta play Jar Jar.
Yeah. yeah, exactly. And also just touching on the point of friendly fire being off and making it easier. Again, some games, I wish friendly fire was off because it just doesn't add any value. But other games, sometimes that is the best part because it doesn't affect the experience in enough of a negative way that you don't kind of have fun doing it.
Your assumption is based on the idea that you are of equal skill of the person playing with you. That is not the case growing up.
Yes, and that's a very good point. If you're not equal skill or someone is actively trying to be a little devious and kind of stab you in the back, then it can
has
really
an itchy trigger finger.
Yeah, exactly. It can harm the experience. But of course, that's also the beauty of having that option toggleable. Be able to turn that on and off.
Individual characters, whether or not they can use it or not. Like let's say Cousin Jimmy is like jumps at every shadow in the game. Okay, you can turn off friendly fire on him.
Yeah. The Iceman says Lego Star Wars, Batman, Harry Potter. He seems to like all of those. I'm assuming.
I like them. It's just that I think that sometimes having to switch to a specific character can be a little laborious.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably. Isn't the game meant to be played with multiple people, so those roles are already kind of being played by someone else? Or
no one wants to play Jar Jar.
You're playing with two people, but if you're playing by yourself, which is usually the case with me.
Wait. Hold on. Hold that. Pause. Wait for it. Wait for it. Where is it? Oh, here. Okay, go ahead.
We'll play co-op with you.
Yeah.
So you don't just play alone.
Just stream it, and then you get on the internet and you have all these internet friends.
Yeah, friends immediately. Okay, so
I went to PlayStation Play or wherever the heck it is. Whatever the meaty thing is, and I got like trolled in like the first 5 minutes I was there. And I'm just like, eh.
Oh, yeah.
Trolls ruin everything, though.
It's true.
But they're under bridges, and you can throw things at them.
Let's see. What other question? Do you guys have any questions? Or actually, anyone. Do any of you guys have a question, or anyone on the stream have a question about cooperative games that you think is worth discussing, or any thoughts?
What kind of games would you like to see made well, either ones that exist have co-op versions, or like something that you haven't played yet that you would like.
Kingdom Hearts to be co-op.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I think I don't know. I've thought about it. I'm not sure if the way it's currently built it would work, but I think a cooperative version of FTL could be really cool.
Yes. Oh, that'll be the best.
because I mean, I understand
Sorry, that was
part of the
fun.
strategy is having to manage multiple people, and if you were only one of those people, it would be kind of boring because you're not really doing anything but moving. But if you could have, say, everyone has their own ship, or everyone
I just want
is,
a crew.
or
I want my
yeah,
friends to be my crew.
if everyone
Yeah.
can be controlling maybe 5 characters, but on one ship, and you've got multiple people, and I've got I've got the engine bay, and someone else has got the bridge, and someone else has got the weapons, and you're controlling multiple people. I think that could be pretty exciting. Let's see. Riley says Star Citizen is an upcoming space sim that has really exciting co-op like that. Like FTL, Riley?
Imagine if they did like an RTS game and your responsibility was one soldier and you had like an army of like 6,000 people.
Yeah.
You're that one archer. That's all you do.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Riley LOL says, yeah, Star Citizen is similar to kind of what I was saying about a cooperative or multiplayer FTL. I'll have to check that out because that sounds pretty cool.
What platform? Like PC,
I
Steam?
imagine probably PC. Riley, do you know? I'm sure they will know. Let's see. Yeah, PC, says Hunter. Um, let's see. I don't know. Just any, games like Contra or Turtles in Time. You just don't see a lot of cooperative games like that. Castle Crashers.
Oh
Does it or did
man,
it?
that game
Yeah.
was sick.
Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like it's all that desirable for the general community. I mean, I think we all talk about how we like the idea, but yeah, we don't get a lot of those options. I mean,
Maybe
heck, I was super excited about Castle Crashers, and I didn't even buy it when it first came out, so that's kind of my fault.
do you
Everyone's
think maybe
playing
that spoiled the
Candy
soup
Crush.
too? It's like there's too many people in a co-op. It can sometimes get like irritating. Like, have you ever played like Fat Princess? It's
Oh yeah.
it's
What
like this.
is Fat Princess? Is that like a Sony game?
It's yeah, well, it's on PlayStation. Oh, I played it on PlayStation 3, and it's like it can be co-op, or you can play it by yourself. Although why you'd want to play it by yourself, I have no idea because it's
Yeah.
impossible to win then.
Yeah.
But it's like it's like all these people trying to manage stuff and trying to get things done. It's kind of like it's like Capture the Flag and Sim City, sort of, with getting resources, or no, Age of Empires, like all together in one thing.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's you have a little you control a character and you can put on different hats, I guess that'll give you different classes, and the whole premise is that you're trying to capture your enemy's princess and bring her back to your castle, and they're trying to do the same thing, capture your princess, and you can feed her cake to make her fatter, which makes it harder to carry her.
I
So
like that.
yeah, it's a
That's
fun
an original.
mechanic. But yeah, I can understand what you mean by too many people can actually kind of diminish the value of the individual in a cooperative game, which is actually something that they kind of experienced in World of Warcraft, because there were raids that required 40 people, which was kind of it was exciting, the actual concept of it, like, oh man, 40 people all going after one big monster. That's an exciting idea, but
Gotta manage 40 people.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
gotta
know.
manage
That
40
takes some management
people,
skills.
and as there were people who really enjoyed it, but it was really hard for people to execute on that, and so they started doing more 10 and 20. I think was where it kind of capped out. I'm not sure if they're going back to 40 again. I haven't played for a while, but it definitely, too many cooks in the kitchen can make it difficult to execute, but also makes the individual a little less important, and it's important to have a little bit of value.
I don't know,
Now
man,
there's
because those big
Works
raids go
better in
like
war
that.
games, I
Like
think.
one person can mess it up. Like it's so detail specific when you do that 40-man raid, and then like that healer, his cooldown is too slow and he can't heal the tank fast enough, and then they're gone.
Yeah,
I mean, the individuality is gone. You're one giant blob of,
Particle
attack.
effects.
Yeah. So you as an individual is gone, but you as your responsibility is more important than anything else.
Yeah. Hunter Jr. mentions Defiance is let's see. There is this one game that came out called Defiance. It brings out the co-op in a game. So yeah, Defiance is kind of an online MMO-ish type game that's mostly cooperative, similar, in a WoW sense. Let's see.
What about one that you absolutely need to have a lot of people is that Transfer Mice game?
Oh yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
that's an
interesting
interesting
because
co-op.
Transfer Mice is not a cooperative game, but it
Kind
sometimes
of co-op, I
forces
guess.
you to be cooperative, and that's actually one of the reasons why I find the game so interesting. If anyone's not familiar with Transfer Mice, the general premise is that you're a mouse and you're trying to get a piece of the cheese and then return to your mouse hole. Um, and that's it. That's all you have to do is get a piece of cheese and return back to the mouse hole. But there's like 39 other people also trying to do it, and there's collision with people, and there's obstacles, and everyone's racing to get the cheese. And what makes it fascinating is that if everyone just worked together and didn't fight each other to race, because there's really no point in being the first other than just being on the leaderboard, kinda. Everyone could get cheese and everyone could get back alive, but because everyone's being chaotic and jumping over each other and making things fall, they end up killing each other, which
Kind of
kind of
like
makes
life.
it, yeah, like life.
Is that why there aren't that many co-op games? It's because we're all trying to jump all over each other and get the
I think
cheese?
that's a good point. I think cooperative games may be hard to come by because a lot of people are more interested in their personal glory.
The
Um,
achievements.
yeah, and their
What's
achievements.
that
And
game? It's like there's a game that came out recently. It's like a medieval one, and I think the games, like you said, World of Warcraft. I think they just I think World of Warcraft might be too complicated. I'm thinking like the games that work the best as co-ops are just ones where you're just in a group of people and you just have a gun and you just shoot, and that's pretty much it.
yeah.
But Halo, I think, is so popular. There's not too much stuff that's complicated. It's just like this is the weapon type. It's not like cast fire, cast water, cast ice, heal.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah, and the stream's asking to clarify what we're talking about. The subject is cooperative games, but we're kind of opening discussion up to a little bit more about just multiplayer games in general, as long as it includes players working together for a common goal. I would agree, Dirk, that there are definitely differences between something that's exclusively cooperative and multiplayer in general. But really the focus is players working together in a cooperative sense. So yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about. It's just the cooperative nature. Go ahead, Shane.
All right, so you asked this question earlier, and I took a minute to think about it. What game would you like to see go co-op? And there's an old game I used to play, Final Fantasy Tactics, and me and my neighbor, we used to we would play the game, but what we would do is we would be like, all right, well, you get to play those three characters, and I play these three characters, kind of thing. And basically, it was like a 3D kind of point down. You had like 8 characters, and then the computer had like 8 villains, and then you had to go move around, and certain characters had certain different abilities. And we would be like, all right, so you play that guy, and then when it's my turn, I play that guy. And then we would kind of, do our own little thing, but we had the objective of, beating the map.
Yeah.
And then the second game that I thought about when it came out was Baldur's Gate for PC. When it first came out, you could do multiplayer, but, you had to go through the firewall and security and ports and all that work. The Enhanced Edition made it really easy to do it, making it multiplayer. So you could have 6 people play 6 different characters, and you go through the story of the game. Granted, you could be on Skype or GChat and be like, hey, do this, or you could just not say anything and just, see who does what.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I was just reading a couple things in the stream. But yeah, it's basically taking some of those games and splitting up the tasks between people. Is that kind of what you're saying,
Yeah.
like in the Final Fantasy Tactics case?
Well, it wasn't that. It was just the fact that you could play with, like, your friend and make a single player game a co-op game. Where you're like, you know what? Hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Come over. Let's play tactics. Oh, okay. Stuff like that. So you would make it a co-op, but it's still a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do with Rashawn, my friend. We would like just play a single player game, but we would trade off. So it'd be like, okay, I've got this level, you've got that level. It's not really co-op, but I did something similar to that with single player games. I'm not sure which games maybe like, no, not like the Laura Croft games, because I don't really think there were any characters that could
I did that
go
with
with
Mario
her.
too.
What was that, Kat?
I did that with Mario too. Like my cousins, like we would all just play. It would usually end up just being the big kids playing and stuff, and us being, cheering on. But collectively, as a whole, we would beat the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what Sonia's saying is basically like, this is the tough part. You're better at it. You do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that with my mom when I first started playing Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one. There was a part where like the ground would move like this. So on the very first level, the ground would move like this, and she just was not coordinated enough to get across there. So I would take it and I'd play across that. Yeah, but when we would get to the boss, Dr. Robotnik, like it was like the pressure was too much for me. So I had to have her do it, and she would beat the boss. Yeah, and then it just all changed after that.
I think most games as a kid
Stopped
would
with Pac-Man.
Yeah.
My mom played Mario. She played so much Mario. It was terrible because she was not good at it. I would be like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm playing Mario. I want to jump," and then she just grab the controller and do that when she jumped. And I'm like,
Oh yeah, I used
to be on the couch like this, like making
Trying
it better.
I had my cousins play Nintendo. Like I had them play some, and they were doing that too. And I'm like, oh.
It doesn't do anything. It doesn't help.
It makes me standing on the couch, screaming and pushing the button as hard as I could. I thought that helped.
Nowadays, I think it's just because they're used to the iPod and moving it, iPad and moving things around and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I had a kid, like the kid like they plays with the Game Boy, and then like it's like it's broken here. No, use your fingers. Use your fingers. It's a baby's toy.
That's what Back to the Future 2.
I know, it became true. I'm so sad.
Yeah.
It's a baby's toy.
The streams mentioning the Walking Dead game as a co-op might be fun. I haven't played it myself, but I believe you had a couple characters that were moving around, and you only
Walking Dead,
controlled.
you mean the arcade bird games? Where you get the guns?
No, not like House of the Dead.
Sorry.
But like the series, like the game based off the series, or like The Last of Us. There's two characters in that, which is interesting because in The Last of Us, there's two characters. There's the older man and then the younger girl. And what would be interesting about that is that you have two characters that are physically different, and so if each person were to play as a different character, they could have different qualities that they could bring to that cooperative experience. The older man might be able to lift certain things or reach higher objects, but the girl could climb under something, might be more agile to jump across something or climb something that is would not work under his weight. And that could definitely make it a more interesting cooperative experience than just like, say, Gears of War, where you got two meatheads with the same guns shooting at the same object, which is also a fun game, but it doesn't really give the individual that special power. There's also, let's see, Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, Jak and Daxter.
I can't remember if those had any co-op elements in it.
I mean, Dead Island kind of touches on that theory, where you have different characters that have, one person, he's like a ex-athlete, and he's gonna be a lot stronger. Then you have a female. I they basically they had pluses in certain areas that other people. I mean, they're not limited to like weight or anything like that, but they had bonuses in certain areas.
Yeah, different traits. Let's see. Dirk also mentions that the GTA series would be a good game to have co-op for, which actually the new GTA is actually planned to have co-op. At least last I heard. So that could be pretty interesting.
How
It's
about games that
online all
don't
the
that
time.
like they co-op them but they really shouldn't?
Yeah, that's a good question. Can you guys think of any games that they added a
Co-op but
co-op
shouldn't.
to that they probably shouldn't have?
Like
Mass
what game
Effect.
might had a bad co-op?
Yeah,
Mass Effect.
Mass
Well,
Effect.
there's certain games where like it's like if you get a little further ahead, if one person goes further ahead, then it like cuts you off or something, or or it goes up higher.
Like Sonic?
Yeah, like Sonic.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, actually, I think. Even though it was old, but that was not easy.
Yeah, but Tails could always come back. That was the thing. But if he got up a little,
No one likes Tails.
I like the original Tails. I don't like the newer Tails because he's just a whiny kid that
old
Sonic
school
has to
was
save
the
now.
best.
Yeah.
Old school Sonic is always the best.
You know,
I don't want to bring that up.
back before they added on Amy Rose and her strangely pedophilic undertones.
Don't get me started on Sonic. It's so heartbreaking.
No. Anyway, okay, so let the old people whine. Let's move on.
So bad
Yeah.
co-op versions of co-op.
In my day, Sonic the Hedgehog wasn't in this newfangled 3D. You played left to right, and we had fun.
Yeah.
We had fun.
Fraghard mentions Halo Wars. I don't think I played that one.
That's an RTS.
Was it? Did it have cooperative elements?
I don't know. I never played it. I mean, I won't assume it did like any other RTS. 2v2, 3v3 maybe.
Let's see. Fraghard, did it have any particular cooperative elements that were any different than just like multiplayer, teams? And while you answer that, I would love to see a cooperative RTS where the tasks of running an RTS army or group or whatever it is are separated. Because I like real-time strategy games in theory, but I'm really bad at them, and it's usually because there's some aspect of the game I enjoy doing a little more than another. And I think I would love to play an RTS where like I could focus exclusively on like resource acquisition. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna mine and I'm gonna get these resources and I'm gonna send them back to you, who's maybe the military mind, and you're the guy doing all the fighting. And I'm being attacked. I need some support. Or we need more of this mineral. Start adjusting your resources to harvest that, etc., etc. I would love to see that because I think that'd be a lot of fun. Because I'd be able to do kind of what I like about RTS games and ride a little bit on the shoulders of someone who's better at them. And
A game
Riley
always had.
Star
There's a
Citizen.
game that always had a multiplayer, and it never worked. And I used to play it a lot, Madden. And you could be like, yeah, you want to play Madden? All right. And then they would play like another character, and it was never fun. But they always have that feature in it. I don't know why.
No, like the sports games was no fun when you couldn't split the screen.
Oh yeah, that can definitely make it hard.
And sometimes split screens like really suck too. It's like I prefer when they do the vertical one as the horizontal as opposed to the vertical.
Oh yeah, it certainly depends on the game. Yeah, if it's a shooter, horizontal is definitely the way to go.
Screen hacks.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, now that I think about it, just about every game is probably better with horizontal. I'm trying to think of a scenario where a vertical would be more important. Although I'm sure it probably makes more sense.
Halo, Portal probably would make more sense, because it's higher looking up and.
Oh yeah, because you're shooting. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. There's more vertical gameplay.
Yeah, but if it's just straight on, if it's like first person shooter and stuff, it's like what? Mm-hmm. You have panorama, so someone doesn't gank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Halo always got harder the more people that you had in there. Like I would forget where my screen was. And be like,
I hate it, like when you forget which player you are. Like if it's like a GoldenEye, that would happen with me a lot. Cause like,
Oh, when Robert, we had mentioned co-op. I guess it's kind of co-op, but like Rock Band and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
What do you think about those kinds of like games? Should there be more of them? I mean, I don't know what else you could do besides.
Well, I mean, maybe not necessarily Rock Band, because they've definitely done that. But there's a cooperative game. I'm trying to remember what it's called. But what it does is everyone has the game on their own system, and normally people get together with laptops and do this. But it's supposed to simulate like operating the Starship Enterprise, and apparently I think it can be like 20 people all playing this game, and people do actually get together in one room with all their laptops, and each laptop is a different portion of the ship, and there's a captain, and they're barking orders, and everyone's doing different things on their computer that's all collectively accomplishing
I want to
something.
play that.
I absolutely want to play that. My eyes just went, oh my god.
I'll have to
Sounds pretty
remember what
fun.
that one's called.
Energize me, Captain.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh my god.
Let's see.
Hopefully someone in the stream finds it.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of fun.
No. Engaged.
Yeah. If anyone in the stream knows what I'm talking about, that's a good one. Actually, a game I played. I was at GDC, and it was an app game, and it was actually similar. Everyone had a phone or a different tablet, and it was very simple tasks. It was just buttons and sliders, and like things would come up, right? So like on my screen it would say boost the thrusters, right? But I personally couldn't boost the thrusters. Someone else had to do it. So when I saw it read boost the thrusters, I'd have to call boost the thrusters, and someone else would be like, thrusters boosted, and hit the button. And then on their screen it would say like, modulate, flux capacitor, and then on a third person screen they had to modulate it, and so we're all barking orders out at each other, to get that to actually function, and we had to do this. Yeah, you had to pay attention, you had to listen to what people were saying, and if you didn't function quick enough, your ship would take damage. And then it'd be something sometimes you all had to do. So it'd be like, oh my God, we're going through a wormhole. Flip your phone upside down.
I really like that human interaction.
Yeah, and everyone has to flip it upside down.
That's really fun.
Fraghard is calling me a nerd. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Woo, compliment. Nerds are hot.
Yes, they is. And they keep talking about Star Citizen, so I'll have to check that out. Riley, yeah. All right, I'll look it up.
Riley's actually a Star Citizen rep trying to just promote the game.
Yeah. Well, if Riley is a Star Citizen rep, please send me a copy. I'll love you forever, and I'll mod you.
We'll take free everything. That's good.
Free everything, yeah.
You need sponsors.
Well, actually, he mentioned earlier that it was a Kickstarter thing. I don't know if it's finished funding or if it still needs to be funded, but I'll have to check it out.
I'll give $1.
Let's see. So we're getting close on our to the end here. We got about 6 more minutes. Let's see. If you guys have any questions or thoughts, I'm gonna think again. Are there any cooperative games that you're looking forward to playing? I can think of a couple. Go ahead.
Red November.
Yes.
So I want to play that. I was supposed to play it yesterday, but I haven't yet. So Red November.
Yeah, I definitely want to play. Go ahead.
Oh, I guess if anyone out there doesn't know what that is, it's a board game, a co-op game where you have like a submarine, and you're trying to keep it from sinking, pretty much, or blowing up, or well, you say.
Yeah,
it's something bad keeping happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Red November, the submarine's going down. You can't ignore the fact. What you're basically doing is trying to hold out until the rescue boat comes. So every second that you're there, you're trying to put out fires, bilge water, repair things. I mean, it's just anarchy, and the whole point of the game is it's just anarchy until ultimately you're saved or you all die. And apparently in the game there is an opportunity for someone who has no faith in their team to jump ship and possibly
Really?
be the only winner. Yes.
Get eaten
Oh,
by
that's awful.
Yeah.
That's where you find out who your real friends are.
Yes.
Oh, I'm
exactly.
jumping ship right away. Later, deuces. I'm out.
I will go down with this ship.
I'm not a captain, so.
Aw.
But funny, because my name is Captain Gain, but that's a different story. I'm looking at the cover of this game, and the little three people in that submarine do not look like they're having fun at all.
No. But that's kind of the
Somebody
humor
send me a link.
of Red November.
Yes, please and thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. I definitely want to play Red November. Let's see.
I still want to play Portal 2, of course.
Yeah, Portal 2. I
Co-op.
got
Yeah.
Monaco 2.
Oh, that one, yes.
It's like a kind of a heist kind of game, but it's it's top down. It's kind of fun and quirky, and everyone's got a different type of character, and it's
Wait, Red November, like Hunt for Red October?
yeah,
Mhm.
it's a spoof on that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Are the streams
Both look
telling us
better.
what to play?
No, they're kind of talking about other things,
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm kind of ignoring them at the moment. Let's see, what other ones? Yeah, I think I'll probably I look forward to trying Terraria again. I think that'll be kind of fun, especially if we can get 3 or 4 of us in there.
I'm playing right now, so.
You what?
I'm playing right now.
Oh.
I want to play. Now that I have my PC up, I can play.
Yeah.
That's good.
Let's see, what else?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking forward to Grand Theft Auto 5. So.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, my brain has been so out of it, like with like upcoming titles and the new. Well, the one game that I'm looking forward to playing, not for the co-op, but I found out the co-op element about it and it sounds even sick, is Watch Dogs.
Oh really? Yeah. I didn't know that had a co-op.
Basically, the co-op is like you're playing your level, and another person can jump in your realm and start messing with you and hacking you.
Oh.
So basically, you can go from playing the game to like, oh, I gotta find this hacker and get out of my realm.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. All right. So Sonia, do you want to do some fun? Well, actually, before we do our final thoughts,
Okay.
anyone who's new in the stream, well, actually, Sonia, do you want to do kind of an outro and explain again what we're doing, and then everyone will kind of say who they are, and then we'll
Okay.
finish off.
Well, so tonight that was pretty much our discussion on co-op games, what we think about it, and the games that we played, the games that we'd like to see made co-op, and et cetera, et cetera. For those of you watching on G+, you know that this is through Uncharted Interactive. If you're interested in anything that we're doing, go to unchartedinteractive.com. We have some browser games, and we have forums and stuff. This, this is our monthly discussion that we do called GameOut. So next month, we're probably going to do a game again. I want to do it every other month. We have a discussion on a type of genre, and then the alternating months doing an actual game to focus on. I'm not sure what the next one will be, but the next game out should be on, let me look at the calendar, Sunday, August 25th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's that. Robert, you had any last thoughts you wanted to?
Yeah. Just one of the questions was, who are all of us?
Okay.
Who are you?
Yes. Who are you?
Who are you?
Sonia, wave.
Hi, I am Sonia. I am also known as Squish Squirrel and Squirrel Girl on the internets.
Yes. So
And
Sonia and
and
I.
Sage's girlfriend.
Yes, Sage's girlfriend. Weirdo. And so Sonia's my girlfriend, but we also work together on these side projects, and we put together this hangout. Well, this is really Sonia's thing, but I support it every time. Shane is a friend of mine who I've played games with, and will hopefully get to play some more games with. And Kat is one of our friends who we met through another friend, but is now a much
In the
better
circle.
friend than just a friend of a friend. And
Yes.
hopefully we
A
will
very
get to meet
lovely friend that we
her, or see her in person sooner than later, because she lives just a little farther away than weekend hangouts. But that's why we get to do this. But we're all just friends hanging out, having these discussions about games, game topics. Like Sonia said, normally we discuss a particular game. We'll choose a game at the beginning of the month. We'll play it and then talk about it. But this month we chose kind of a subject, a general game subject, which was kind of co-op and multiplayer. And it's just a fun conversation, and we hope to get the people in the stream involved a little bit more with the discussion. If you'd like to get more involved, please like the Uncharted Interactive page on Google+. You can also let's see. You can also go to the Uncharted Interactive website and create an account there. There's some discussions in the forums that you can comment on or contribute to. We'll hopefully try to add some more. But slow process, but it should be a fun one. So, anything else, Sonia?
Also, we're on Facebook and Twitter, and you can follow Robert and I on Facebook and Twitter as well.
They're lovely people.
The
Pretty much
tweets.
it. Yeah, so I guess that's it because it's a little after 8. So hopefully everybody out there enjoyed what we had to say. We encourage you, of course, to play the games that we're playing every month, and to chat on the forums, and anywhere you can comment on pages and stuff, any posts or anything like that. We always like to hear feedback and stuff.
Make sure that game's cheap, Sonia. I don't have a lot of money.
I am poor.
I'm currently unemployed right now, so
Well,
yeah.
maybe we'll do Monaco, because I got the 4-pack, and so that's one for Sonia and I. And if you guys are with us for the next round, maybe we'll give you guys the other 2.
That should be fun, and yeah, it's co-op, so we can do
Continue
that.
our discussion.
Yep.
What?
Right.
Monaco? Okay.
Monaco. Yeah.
Mm.
We'll talk about it more after.
Yeah. Okay. It's not going.
There it is. Wow.